Yo, what's going on everyone? The Cool Geek here, and I'm at another video. And today I'm going to be debunking a video made by Sosapotence, someone on the internet. Let's get into it. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to be doing a debunk on this guy. I'm gonna call him Andrew for the rest of the video. He called himself Andrew in the video. I tried to say his channel name, Saucepotence. Anyway, we're going to pretend that I can say that word. And, so Andrew's video was decent quality in terms of like editing and stuff. I'll give him that. But when it comes to information, he was kind of coming up short. So I'm gonna go over the different main points he made. There, like most of his points were kind of like nitpicking anyway. But these are like the main few things that stuck out to me. The reason I'm really doing this is because I needed some content. Let's be honest, and I didn't upload last week because I was like under the weather. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. So, the first thing that he really got wrong was when Wiz and Boomstick. I'm not gonna get real nitpicky over like everyone's names here, by the way. So, Wiz and Boomstick were basically talking about like Ultra Instinct and how it's like unconscious thought, right? It's like moving without thinking about moving. And he basically like nitpicks and is like, no, that's not how it works. It's a form, because Wiz and Boomstick, they say that Ultra Instinct is not really a form, well, until like Goku makes it a form. Because, for instance, the angels, they don't have to transform. They're not like, yeah, let me go Ultra Instinct and flex, right? They just have it sort of naturally, unless you think they were born with the transformation, which at that point, it's not a transformation anymore. I hope you know that, right? So, yeah, that's something that I think is very important to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to play the clip that I'm talking about, and then I'm going to go into further detail right after. Here we go.
More a state of mind than actual transformation. Autonomous Ultra Instinct describes the ability to instantly respond to attacks without conscious thought getting in the way.
Nope!
I'm wrong.
I included that whiz part in there because I made that same mistake in the video that I just did with Geekdom about Vegeta not dying in Resurrection event. You should definitely check it out after you check out this video and the set the programmer debunk video. But anyways, enough self-plugging. This is actually not true. I mean, they sort of kind of say it right here. The ScrewAttack about Ultra Instinct being a transformation. What they technically said is partially true about it being more a state of mind, that it is partially a state of mind, but it is way more a transformation. The state of mind thing, anyone, even humans, can actually cut out actually the thought process behind just reacting to your opponent's strikes and blocking them and defending them. If a human can do that, there's no significance behind that. The actual significance behind Ultra Instinct, besides the transformation, which is 99% of it right there, is that's where the power and everything else comes from, is that actually there is no thought at all. There is not even the electrical signal that goes from the brain to move the arms and legs of Goku and anyone else who uses it. There's literally no electrical signal at all. It's as if the body and the mind are completely separate. It's like the arms have their own minds of their own and they move on their own. There's not even an electrical signal, which is partially why they're able to move as fast as they do. That is actually a thing that a lot of people and DBZ fans especially do not get, is that it goes even further into the mad, crazy anti-science thing about the brain. It cuts off the brain from the electrical signals. That I just wanted to clarify that point with people too. There'll be a link in the description, first comment, explaining, going further detail into that after you're done with this.
Our own observable universe is a respectable 93 billion light years.
Okay, so now let me explain why his nitpicking doesn't really work in this instance. So, here's the issue, right? Goku's Ultra Instinct is kind of a form. He said it's like Ultra Instinct's way more of a form. And again, like I said before, the angels are born with it, so it's definitely not a form for them. Goku just has a form. Also, I'll leave a link in the description, but according to the Dragon Ball wiki, uh Goku unlocks a transformation that allows him to use Ultra Instinct. So potentially, like, I'm not saying the wiki is law or anything, but if you really want to go there, the wiki says that he unlocks a transformation, and that transformation gives him Ultra Instinct. The transformation isn't Ultra Instinct in itself. So yeah, keep that in mind. But besides that, he like goes on to say like, "Aw, it's not just, dodging, it's being able to dodge, without the nerves, being signaled to your brain or whatever, and it's anti-science," which is kind of bad, honestly. Like, I don't know why you would say pretty much any of that, really. So, and he like goes on to like make the analogy that like humans in real life can, use Ultra Instincts, therefore it can't just be the state of mind that they're talking about that's so impressive. But that's inherently flawed, right? So, but just using that same argument, right? Like, oh, well, humans in real life can do it, therefore it shouldn't be impressive for like gods of destruction. Well, and the analogy I'm about to use is basically, if we look at Bleach, right? Kenpachi was fighting one of the other captains. I think his name's Tozen, the blind one. And Tozen's Bankai takes away your sense of like sight and like hearing or whatever, and it puts you in like complete darkness. And Kenpachi finds a way around that by using his sense of touch to like feel where Tozen is, so he doesn't have to see. Well, in certain martial arts, specifically Wing Chun, right, you learn to feel your opponent and not necessarily need your eyes. And like, so by this guy's logic, because real life people can fight without using their eyes, then Kenpachi being able to like see through Tozen's Bankai with a sense of touch, no, that's a form. That's definitely a transformation. It's way more of a transformation than a technique, bro. Because people in real life can do it, therefore it's not that impressive. The logic doesn't really follow. Also, like, just because it's common for humans in real life to do it doesn't mean it's common for humans in Dragon Ball to do it, right? Like if it was this thing, why didn't, Goku being like, oh yeah, because Whis literally, when he was training Goku, told him what it is. It's unconscious movement. If it was so common, then why didn't Goku say, oh yeah, humans do that all the time? Like, he didn't mention anything about that, so... Or Whis, he has like all of this knowledge, right, about, Earthlings and like the universe as a whole. Why didn't he say, oh yeah, like, the other humans can do it? Like, even Master Roshi in the manga, he moved like he was in Ultra Instinct, but he was like, nah, his movements are just kind of similar because he's flowing. He's still thinking, right? So yeah, I don't see how the logic follows through. Also, Ultra Instinct doesn't break like science by shutting off your brain completely. Literally, how it's described in both Dragon Ball and in real life is it's moving subconsciously without you having to think about it. Not once does it say anywhere that your entire nervous system shuts down. That's not stated anywhere. I don't know why you would assume that. That doesn't make sense. And also, another thing as well is that, like, even if you say, like, because he said it adds to its, like, science breaking, nature, nothing about it breaks science. Moving subconsciously or bodily functions happening subconsciously doesn't break science whatsoever. The nerves in your brain fire off in order to keep your heart beating. You don't have to think about keeping your heart beating. It happens on instinct. It's just something that happens. And literally, Ultra Instinct is just making fighting similar to that, so that you don't have to think about it. It's just an ultra quick, thing that happens. It just makes you react ultra quickly to what's going on. It's not, some science-breaking form that, this guy's trying to make it out to be. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I've been rambling about this. On to the next section. Listen to what he's gonna say. It's wild, bro.
But anyways, like, can they be any more stupid? They literally debunked their own outcomes with these points of reference that they try to use as evidence right there. It's absolutely astounding. You actually see Snake Way within that model. Now, it's probably not exactly as long as like half the universe, but you could probably lowball it to maybe even a fourth of it, because that's, it loops around and goes around in different swirls and circles. So it probably is more like maybe a fourth of it, maybe a fifth of it if you you want to go even lower, and that would actually make much more sense to actual Goku's general power scaling to the speed of which he is during that time and point of power within his life, and he's only gotten much faster ever since then. And then they want to actually say that Goku is not actually faster in light barely even now, or when until resurrection of F was over. Yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous that they want to actually legitimately use this now but refuse to before. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so a couple things to go over. He says that Snake Way should be like half the size of the universe, and then if you lowball it, it's like a fourth of it or something. And then he says like it would be consistent for how fast Goku was back then, and then how much faster he's gotten. I hope you realize that if Snake Way, first of all, if Snake Way was half the size of the universe, and he crossed it in like a few days, even if you said it took him a year, right? That would make him massively faster than light plus, right? Easily thousands of times the speed of light. Actually, I did a calc on that once for like doing some like Naruto scaling, and traveling across half of the universe in a year would make you easily, I think it was like billions of times the speed of light on the low end. So yeah, no, that would definitely wouldn't be consistent. Otherwise, Goku wouldn't have needed Bulma's ship. Like Bulma's ship going to Planet Namek wouldn't be considered fast. Like, I mean, you can argue like, well, he can't breathe in space, so he'd need it. But still, right? Bulma's ship was considered quick. Also, by comparison, right? Piccolo blowing up the moon in like a second, right? Is supposed to be like this really good speed feat. For Dragon Ball, which isn't really consistent at all for like him doing Snake Way. Well, I mean, you could say like, well, he got faster when he went across Snake Way. I mean, yeah, but he didn't get that much faster. Like, you'd have to prove that the gap is like millions of times, if not greater, right? To go from faster than light to like billions of times the speed of light. That's a really big gap. Like, I don't think that makes sense. Also, the fact that like Boo destroying the universe in like a short amount of time was supposed to be impressive. If that's like early Z level stuff, then you know why didn't they just blitz Boo, right? You know, why Boo should have been like moving at the pace of a snail compared to them, since they get all this training in Zenkais and he's just crossing half the universe in a few days. Like, you know, like that doesn't make sense. They should have been able to blitz him the next week. Also, implying that the map of Snake Way is drawn to scale anyway is a pretty big like leap in logic. Like, King Kai's planet is like takes up any portion of the map. That's like a really big deal, because we've seen King Kai's planet before in comparisons to like Goku, a car, a house. And this isn't like, oh, this house is really big. Like, no, Goku has to like crouch to fit in this house, you know, so it's not that big. And like, he's saying like this stuff is drawn to scale. Like, what? Like, are you telling me that crater that Beerus made, that Goku was like what 1/5 the size of, give or take? Are you telling me that crater is like the size of like an actual star? Like, I don't think so, dude. Like, not even a star. That'd be like the size of a galaxy, dude. Like, that's crazy. That's a leap in logic if I've ever heard one. And not even just that. It's like, I think Earth is on the map. I could be wrong about this part. I'm making this video like off the top of my head, pretty much. But I'll have the scans in here. Don't worry. I mean, I'm sure you figured that out. But so basically, right? He is, you know, assuming these things are drawn to scale, and there's clearly things like, no, it wasn't the Earth. It was the sun. Like, the sun is on the map, and it takes up a decent portion of like Snake Way. So, are you telling me that the sun is also the size of a galaxy? Like, I don't think so, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's a really big leap in logic. And those are the main like debunks to like what he had presented right here. Like, oh, one more thing. Also, he's like he keeps pressing the points like, oh man, they're using this stuff for like for scaling now. Like, if they would have used this back then, it would have been better. How dare they use it now? Which is like, no offense, bro. Like, I'm not trying to throw any shade at you directly, but like, that's kind of retarded, because first of all, arguments evolve and change. People get better. I don't think you should criticize someone for getting better. Like, I mean, it's fine to point it out once and say, well, bro, remember your last video? You kind of goofed, and you're kind of admitting it here. But to press multiple times, because I think in the clip that, you just saw, he basically, like, admits it. Or I'm about to either play, I don't remember what the order of this, I forgot. But basically, he, like, criticizes them twice just within that clip, and then he does it later on in his video. I'll have a link in the description because I'm not gonna have, like, every time he does it, but you can watch the video for yourselves, guys. But basically, he, like, says, oh yeah, how dare you have the scaling now, the new and improved scaling now, but not 5 years ago. How dare you guys for improving and getting better. That's a shame. It doesn't make sense. That's nonsense. It's really bad. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that real quick. Now we can go over, like, the next stuff.
And I don't like correcting this part, unfortunately. I really, really don't, because I would like them to be this strong. But if you actually read the manga, they didn't tear apart the universe, breaking up planet by planet like Wiz and Boomstick tried to show right there, and we're just going around destroying individual planets and stars and destroying the universe that way. No, they actually stepped up their power quite a bit, and we're about to do a big key ball kind of death battle thing between each other, and that's what was going to instigate them tear apart the universe. The same kind of beam struggle thing that Goku and Beerus went through that was nearly destroying the universe was what the same thing that Champa and Beerus were about to do, and that's when Wiz and Boomstick, Wiz and Vados, they got the same name, so it's obviously kind of confusing. Yeah, go ahead and take your laughs right there. They actually stopped it right there, but the universe was nowhere in any kind of danger, nowhere near any kind of danger whenever it came to being destroyed. It wasn't until they actually tried to step up their game beyond just punching and kicking each other at insanely fast rates. They were destroying solar systems, but not the universe. That's just a little bit of wank right there, so we just got to clarify that one.
Okay, so the issue I have with that segment there that was just shown is essentially that he tries to say this thing. It's really weird. So in the clip I showed, it wasn't like the full thing. Again, link in the description to his video. But basically, what he does is he says, like, yeah, where Death Battle said, that Beerus and Champa went across the universe and were, like, destroying it. I would like it to be that good, but that's not what happened. They were just gonna destroy, the universe in one go with their blast. And he did clarify, like, after he, like, backtracked, right? And which is also bad. Like, why are you backtracking? You were literally just giving Death Battle, heat, because, oh, why did you have the scaling now and not back then? Well, you're basically backtracking is what he was saying. But now he's backtracking on what he said, right? Again, not in the clip I just showed, but in the full video in the description, right? So that's an issue he backtracked on, and like let's pretend for a second he didn't backtrack. Let's address what he said. Death Battle literally showed the scan of them going from planet to planet. Now, he said, well, it wasn't the universe. It was just, like, within a solar system. But the fact still remains, at first, you, like, completely ignored, like, what they said. Also, it's shown in the anime to be pretty similar, too. And it's implied they go a pretty far distance. Not just, there. And also, like, he said it's, like, it's weird, because it sounds like he thought it was, like, an AP thing, but it's more so for speed. It was more so, like, showing that, yeah, they can jump from this planet to, like, this planet over here, like, on the other side of the universe, and, it's supposed to be mostly, like, a speed feat, as, like, for consistency, basically, right? Goku and Beerus shockwaves are reaching outside of the universe. Okay, well, Beerus, can reach another galaxy in, the speed, and then, last but not least, Beerus and Champa can, go across the universe in their fight, relatively quickly. It's that sort of thing. I don't know why he nitpicked this at all. And then if he did, like, I don't know, like, why he got mind hacked into thinking, like, oh, is it a speed, like, is it an AP feed? They're not that strong, and it's like, cause he said, like, and yeah, I'm gonna milk this real quick, but so why he said they're not that strong for destroying the universe planet by planet, and then brought up them about to destroy the universe in one go. That's literally more impressive. Like, what are you talking about? So I'm assuming he means, they're not that fast. They're not that strong. But, like, I don't think that really matters. Like, you know, the shockwave argument is still there. You know, it's a really good point for like speed. It is lowball, like the guy does point out in his video, but nonetheless, it was like a weird little nitpicky point that was again wrong, because most of his like points are like really, really nitpicky, and then he's wrong with his nitpicks. So yeah, I guess he just needs to get better at nitpicking. That's all. But yeah, on to the next sort of section category thing.
But I don't blame them for this one too bad, because a lot of other DBZ fans don't even realize this, is that Beerus is actually way more powerful than a universal threat. Even the DBZ universe, which would be like 8 times according to ScrewAttack, our universe. So he actually is able to influence entire timelines, which is a near 4D, fourth dimension universal feat. Like, that is an insane amount of power right there, because the difference between the 3D and the 4D is basically infinite amount within our third dimension, our regular dimension right here, and he exceeds that, or is right on the cusp of it. Let me explain. When he actually Hakkai'd Zamasu, he said and was agreed that his power should be eliminate all Zamasus throughout all the other timelines, that they would all be gone, and that they need not worry about what's going on in Trunks' timeline, which is the actual OG timeline. And while that is normally true, Zamasu was protected with the time ring, so that was why it didn't actually go down like that. But normally Beerus would have that power, so he is insanely higher than Universal right there, insanely, which is only a testament to how powerful Ultra Instinct Goku, especially in the mastered form, and Jiren are. They're even more powerful than that. They're actually in the 4D range, whereas Beerus is right on the cusp of it. That seems to be the ability to be able to destroy anything in the universe is directly tied to being right on the cusp of fourth dimensional power right there, which Beerus is. So that's an insane amount of power right there. I wish they had realized that one and done just a little bit more research on that one, but you have to be an insane DBZ fan in order to be able to know that one. But that's a little bit of tidbit knowledge for y'all. So I cannot wait to see what y'all think about this video in the comments. Please let me know what y'all thought. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it very much. I wish that my ex Autumn could actually see this. She broke my heart, and I would love to be able to throw this video within her.
Oh boy, this guy thinks he's big brain. Okay, let's go. It's big brain science time. Let's go. We're all big brains here. Let's go. Someone who could take the science talk. Let's go. So basically, he tries to go over like what 4D is and fails. He fell flat on his face. He flopped so hard, bro. It's crazy. All right, so first of all, let's go over the thing that'll be quick, the Hakkai, and like it, you know, destroying Zamasu across like every timeline. The Hakkai is a hack. It's not AP. It's not like in DC where like Superman punched, I think it was like Brainiac so hard he felt it across like every timeline. It's not that. Now, don't get me wrong, hacks in Dragon Ball are like relative to the user, but I like just saying that being on that level of strength automatically gives you the Kai doesn't make sense at all, because Jiren and Ultra Instinct Goku, who Beerus admits is like above, like this guy admits that Jiren and Master Ultra Instinct Goku are above Beerus, but their punches aren't like the Superman example. They're not being felt across every other timeline, right? So that doesn't really work for like an AP feat per se. Now, he tries to say that the like 4D is infinitely above like our third dimensional like realm or whatever, like our 3D experience, right? Which is wrong. Infinite third dimensional is a thing, first of all, and second of all, he tries to say that Beerus is like on the cusp of like 3D and 4D. He says like, yeah, Beerus is insanely above, you know, Universal, which I agree that Beerus is insanely above baseline Universal. He should actually be 4D. So he's actually downplaying Beerus right here. Beerus is definitely 4D, because he said, oh yeah, Beerus can destroy timelines, and I hate to break it to you, but that's 4D right there. Like, here's the thing. Like, I don't really care what you, like, go off of, like, if you believe in Versus Wiki or not, because some people are like, oh, that's what Versus Wiki says. You're appealing to Versus Wiki. But no, right? One of my hobbies, what I do is I look up quantum mechanics, string theory, etc. So if you're destroying a universal space-time, right? Especially if you think that like Universe 7 is a macrocosm that has like numerous universe-sized realms in it, you should, even if you don't think that like a space-time continuum is a fourth dimensional construct, which is debatable, that's fine. I did an entire video on like the fourth dimension and like a few different models of like how it can be approached. I didn't give like, yeah, this is definitely the fourth dimension, because it's still pretty theoretical about like what it is, but I gave a few different models of how it could work. So I highly recommend that. Go check that video out like after you get done watching this one. But essentially, even if you don't think that it's a fourth dimensional construct, right? The fact that A, Beerus can affect, you know, like the macrocosm, and B, the fact that the Kaioshin realm orbits the main Dragon Ball universe, as well as the fact that there are other universes in like Beerus and Champa we're gonna destroy, not only Universe 7, but also Champa's universe as well. And Beerus was holding back immensely. I'd argue he's easily twice Champa if he's like going all out. Like, I'm not going to get too much into that because this isn't like a Beerus power scale, but so yeah, Beerus should easily be able to do that, which affecting numerous like universal time spaces, or at least, you know, one that are, you know, a decent size, should be interacting with the 4D axis. Again, there's different models for how 4D can like work. So yeah, like I'm not saying like, oh, is he low multiversal? Is he not? Is he whatever? It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to hammer in is he's definitely 4D, right? If you think that destroying a universal spacetime is 4D, then he's 4D based off of that, because that's what he does. He destroys spacetime continuums, right? He could do that, and also he can affect like a 4D axis based off of like if you think the macrocosm should be lined up on a 4D axis. But no matter how you slice it, Beerus is 4D. Jiren and Goku are just higher into it, and yeah, it's pretty bad if you think. And now I'm gonna this point is gonna go on for a while because I love talking about this big-brained science stuff. So the issue here is, no matter how high you go into infinite 3D, you're never reaching 4D. So just him saying like, oh, he's on the cusp of like 3D and 4D, that doesn't work. Like, that doesn't mean anything. You're either 4D or you're not. You're 3D or you're 4D. There's no like on the cusp. That doesn't mean anything, because it's an inaccessible cardinal. Again, I go over this like in depth in my fourth dimension video. Also, one of my older videos called Dimensional Tiering in the Omniverse. That one's kind of dated, but the basic principle of dimensional tiering still stands. Like the logic of that video, like why one dimensional tier is higher than like another, that logic still stands. I just go over some like other stuff about like omnipotence that's, you know, really dated. So essentially the difference between 3D and 4D is in, I'm gonna use the second dimension and the third dimension as like an example, right? In the third dimension you have length, width, depth, and length, width, and depth, right? And because of length, width, and depth, we have things like volume. And with things like volume, we also have things like mass, right? And force, right, the thing you use to damage your opponent, is force equals mass times acceleration, right? And a 2D being only has length and width and no depth. And since they have no depth, they can have no volume and no mass. And if they have no mass, then they have no force, because anything times 0 is 0. So even if this even if this 2D being has like infinite speed or something, right? They still would have 0 force because they have 0 mass. So infinite speed times 0 force is times 0 mass, sorry, is 0 force. So they would be 0 on the scale of a 3D being. And the fourth dimension would be basically the same thing. It's just adding another dimension to them, which would create another thing, sort of like mass and force for the third dimension, except higher and on a fourth dimension. Again, what you think that other dimension is like sort of iffy, you know. So I'm not going to touch upon that too much. But yeah, that's basically how that would work. It's adding another cardinal, right, to it. And off of that, you would be inaccessibly greater. So no matter how high you go into 3D, you'd never reach 4D, even if it's infinite. Even if you have like infinite length, width, and depth, and infinite mass, you still would lack whatever that thing is in the fourth dimension that would make you fourth dimensional. So you'd never have that. Therefore, you'd never be able to access the fourth dimensional tier of power. So yeah, Beerus being on the cusp of 3D and 4D, first of all, can't be a thing because of how 3D and 4D work. And second of all, no, he's obviously much higher than just on the cusp of it. And also, he sort of implied that like 3D and like infinite 3D and 4D are like the same. Even if I were to steelman that, you can't be on the cusp of like being infinite or non-infinite. You're either infinite or you're not. There's no in between. So even if you think that, 4D is just infinite 3D for some reason, and 3D only goes up to like finite values for whatever reason, you're either finite or you're infinite. The term infinite means not finite. So how are you on the cusp of finite and not finite? That doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's sort of the debunk to like that. So yeah, he's not nigh infinite. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, those are all the main points to the video. Let's go on to the next section real quick. Okay, time for a recap. No shade to Andrew. Like, I'm not trying to like bash him or anything. I'm not saying like he's bad or anything. Just some of his videos seemed very nitpicky, and his nitpicking wasn't good, right? So no shade to you, Andrew, if you're watching this. Guys, go check out his video, link in the description, I guess. I'll also link Death Battle's original video in the description as well. Next video will be my Sound 4 power scale, guys. Sorry. And this video, by the way, if you're new to the channel, this video is actually pretty bad quality compared to like the other stuff that I'm like have been doing. But yeah, I did this just for like extra content, out like that, in a hurry, because I need more content. By the way, I'm adding this in post everything else. This is my first debunk of a debunk. Let me know if you like this sort of thing and if I should do it again in the future. Because this guy has some like other videos that are debunkable, and I've seen some other debunks that are questionable as well, just floating around YouTube. So let me know if you want to see me debunk anyone else's debunks. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled content. Oh my gosh, that was funny. And yeah, Andrew, if you want to debate me, I'll have a link in the description to my versus debate server. You can hop in there, we can debate. Anyone else interested in joining there, you can join that server as well. Also, I'll have a link to my other server, which is just for like chilling out. A lot of the time when I stream games, I'll be in that other server just chilling out in VC. So yeah, and then we can talk about whatever. I don't really care. We can just talk. I like to talk. Also, let me know what you want to see next. After I do the Sound 4, I'm going to do each individual person that like fought them from the Konoha 11. Also, I'm going to be doing more DMC stuff. Like, I'm going to be streaming that every Saturday. Also, I'm going to do Storm 4 sometime after that. But yeah, I'm doing DMC 1 through 5. And I'm going to scale it. Each stream, I'm going to be having stuff that's going to be useful for scaling. And, yeah, that's going to be good. I really like DMC. It's good. You guys should join the stream. Also, I make them better and better every time, with a few exceptions whenever something goes wrong. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check out all the links in the description. And yeah, let me know if you like this sort of freestyle debunk in the comment section down below. The Cool Geek out. Bye.